Thanks for attending today. Sorry Zach couldn't make it. He's not feeling well today, so I will be stepping in. If you didn't see that message in the chat, that's what's going on. My name is Mike. I'm kind of new to the team, to the Shark Indicators team. I've been working on the support area, answering tickets and some of your emails, trying to build some systems for another project that we're trying to get going. So yeah, today I'm here to just answer questions if you have any. If I don't get any questions, might just go over some of the features of BloodHound instead. Just try to get something. I do an example of a setup or trigger and trigger. Looks like I can't read that. Manmohan, do you have any example that you would like me to show? Any specific examples? You say you're actually using third-party indicators, but could use examples for moving average crossover equals condition 1 and MACD for condition 2. Sure, certainly. So we'll say when price crosses, what do we got on here? We have an SMA. Let's get rid of this EMA. Let's throw MACD in there. I'm just going to keep the default settings for the MACD, and we'll just keep this SMA the way it is, just for simplicity's sake. Let me set this up real quick. There it is. Ooh, that's way too dark. There we go. Okay. Not that one. Okay, so let's do a crossover. You see a crossover for the moving average. So we'll select the crossover, and here, let's split these up a little bit so we can see both of them. Okay, so for the we're gonna just set this up as this SMA 10. It's gonna, whenever it crosses over the price, like this one right here, since it crosses up, we're gonna get a crossover somewhere around here. And then this one, it will cross below. We should get a negative signal right about here. So for indicator A, for input type A, we'll change the input to price. And it's already set to the SMA 14, which is close because this one's a 10. So we'll change this one to the SMA 10. We'll leave this on the indicator value. And that does it for that one. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we put this in a new logic. It doesn't really matter what we call this. Let's just call this entry. And then we're going to add that solver that we just made under existing nodes. We can go ahead and give this a name as well, so we remember what it does without having to click on it every single time. Just look at its settings. So we're going to change this to price crossover SMA 10. Sounds like a good name to me. Connect that to the result. Make sure that the signals match up, which they do. All right, so we got those. Nice and simple. And for the next part, we'll just do when, let's see, what was that? And MACD. We'll just do whenever the MACD. We'll do it when the difference is above or below 0. How about that? Just to set up a little bit. So we're going to do. We can do this two ways. Or, you know, I think actually you're wanting a threshold for the. Let's change this a little bit. I'm sorry. Let's make this a. Does this go below 50? Yeah. How about when the MACD is above or below 20? So we're going to add a threshold. We're going to change this indicator to the MACD. I'll leave this on the MACD. And we will give this 20. Now these threshold values, they must be in descending order. So if you have a negative value, it must be at the bottom. I saw a question come in to me this week sometime, where a very nice gentleman had two separate threshold solvers, one for different plots of the same indicator. He wanted one of them to be above 200, another one to be below 200. But in the screenshots that he sent me, his A and B, one of them had the 200 and the other one was negative 200 in the A and B, and he was wondering why it wasn't working. So I pointed out that they need to be in descending order, since negative 200, he had negative 200 here in A and B, and then 0 D, C, D, and E. And I explained to him that negative numbers are less than 0, so they need to be on the bottom. Excuse me. So just remember that these need to be in descending numbers, and negative numbers are less than 0. And if you wanted a higher negative number, that is like 21, would be lower than 20. That's a mathematical thing, and most people know that, but I just want to make 100% clear that that's what needs to happen. Okay, with that, we want a long output when it's greater than 20, and a short output when it's less than negative 20. Okay, so that's all we have to do, set that up. So let's rename this. Let's say MACD above, below, plus minus 20. Okay, that tells me pretty much what it does. We'll plug this in. Okay, and as you can see, whenever it's above 20, I just made a nice low number so we'd get lots of outputs. We get a green output when it's below 20. Below negative 20, we get a short output, and when it's in between negative 20 to 20, we get no output. And now if we want to combine those, we just have to put in an AND node and connect them all up. Now in this section, as you can see, we get two green signals here. Let's mark these here. Here, let's grab this one too. And here. Okay, and those are all green because they're within this green area. But as you'll notice, there's some red signals here, 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 here. There's even one here. But those don't show up when you have this. And that's because of the MACD is filtering those out, and then the lack of it is filtering this out. If there was a crossover down here, there should be a signal, which it wouldn't, because this is the price is crossing up over the SMA. So there should, in theory, then be a green signal here, but there's not because of MACD again. Excuse me. So that would be the simple. I just deleted the wrong thing. A very simple setup for that question. Get rid of these. Okay, check it to see. Okay. Mammond, hoping that answers your question. Didn't seem much more complicated than that, so if you have more to add, please let me know. I guess we can go over some of the interface stuff that may not be completely 100% obvious, such as the fact that you can right-click anywhere in the logic board to bring up any of the existing solvers or the function nodes or logic nodes or any stuff, just like you would be able to on the pull downs. You just right click anywhere that's not on the solver. Oh, that's another one I'll show too. Barely anybody uses that. I don't know what this button does. Oh, hey, I've never used that button. There is a description area that you can give a specific template. For instance, if I wanted to say that this is Man Mohan's question, and then I could switch over to this one and horrible names. This is Joe's question. That kind of thing. So now if I go back over here, I can make notes and stuff like that. Say, this is a MACD fresh with SMA 10. So, you can just put in a description. You don't have to put anything in here. You can put anything you want, make notes, whatever. It can make life easier, for sure. Because if you build something and as you're building it, you put notes about what you're doing with it or whatever, and then you want to make edits or changes, or you haven't used it in a while and you come back to it and you're like, oh, what did I use this for? And then, so, whatever, you can have these descriptions in there. Not a whole, I continually forget that they're there. I usually use this description area. But this description area is for the BloodHound template as a whole, whereas this description area is for the specific logic template. And it might sound a little bit confusing, but the BloodHound file, this is the BloodHound template, is the entire file. And then within the BloodHound template, there are logic templates, which is what these are. These are not separatable from the BloodHound template. You can't copy them to another BloodHound template. You'd have to recreate them in another BloodHound template. But just so you know the difference between the two, I know we throw around the word template a lot, but that's what they are. So just to avoid any confusion between what the two are. I was going to go over this change button is basically a save as button. It's the same thing as clicking save as. I do believe. Let's make sure. Yes. It's exactly the same as clicking save as. So the change would change the, basically it means change the name of it, which save as does the same exact thing. That is not what I wanted. Oh, there we go. Let's open this one here. Okay. So, oh, and that's another thing. Anytime you close the BloodHound window, it automatically saves it. If you have it open here and then hit refresh chart, it'll close it, but it saves it when it does that. So as long as this gets closed, either via the X or by refreshing the chart, whenever you close the BloodHound template or the BloodHound interface, it automatically saves. So you don't need to actually go and click save. Although it's a good practice to actually do that, it's not 100% necessary. Oh, how about this one? If you have a lot of, let's say you have a huge logic. I'm not going to put anything in these. I just want to just show a quick thing. Let me set this up real quick. This is just for demonstration. I just want to show. If you have, say you have a lot of things plugged in, but then you suddenly realize you don't want any of it. And so you could just select each one and delete, or you can select them all by clicking and dragging and hit delete, and it will delete them all. That seems like well, to me it seems like something that was obvious from the beginning, but I've come across plenty that didn't realize that you could do that. Just so you know, it's a quick, easy thing. If you need to delete a lot of things, let's say you you made a copy of one of your templates, and then you suddenly don't need a huge chunk of it, you can just select the whole thing and delete it that way. Makes it easier on a slower computer, or if it has a lot of logic in it. It can take a minute. Okay, I want to show a certain condition. I have rarely seen people use this, which is why I want to actually show it. Is the invert, the inverse of these. So what I have here is an AND node, and let's say for whatever reason we want to see when the signals. We want to take out these crossover points out of, so when this crosses up, or actually when this crosses down, we want that to not be there. Actually, I'm not sure which way it goes. Let's find out. So we can add another AND node. We can right click on that AND node, and I can invert it. making it a not node. So then I can plug this into the not node and then plug that into my AND. Let's see. Yeah, it takes out all the green signals from the green areas. As you can see, it took this one out right here. Let me mark these. There's one there. There's one there. Okay, yeah, it completely inverts it. You get a plus and a minus signal here. This one inverts the green signal to a short signal. Same with this one. These short signals got inverted to long signals. Now yeah, that's not gonna, that one doesn't even cross, so it doesn't matter. But as you can see, it removes it inverts the signals from this, complete inversion. So any area that was blank will now suddenly have signals for both directions, meaning that the signals can continue to come through during those areas. Whereas if I would just plug that in, then we'd only get signals in specific areas when these two conditions match. When there's a long output coming from this solver, and there's a long output coming from this solver. Both of those conditions have to be true for the output. Hi, Leonardo. Thanks for the question. It says not Zach. This is Mike. Zach's not feeling well today, so I'm taking over today's workshop, in somewhat limited form. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you, or to at least attempt it. I'm not sure what else I would be able to go over. Probably the shortest workshop in history, or in Shark Indicator's history. I've seen Zach go 4.5, 5 hours before. He gets with it. But, let's see. Okay, let me see if I understand you correctly, Leonardo. It seems like you want to be able to save a specific solver that you've built for inclusion in a separate logic, say on a different template, or a different BloodHound template. No, there's currently no way to save like a specific solver. Like let's say if I wanted to, if I had some complicated solver that I don't know, took me 10 minutes to set up or whatever, and I wanted to save all the settings that I have changed in here because it works great, and I want to use this specific solver in a completely different template. I want to go to a new template completely, and then import this specific solver into that other BloodHound template. That's not currently possible. Same as if like you had this logic template, or let's say this one because it has more stuff in it. This logic template, and you like the way that this points out specific things, and you think it would be good in another system that you're trying to build. Same thing, you'd have to rebuild all of this stuff in that other one. But to make it easier for you, you can simply add another instance of BloodHound, and then switch one of them to, let me expand my chart here. So now I have two of them. One of them can show a completely different template, and I can use these two as comparisons. And so I can go back and forth between these two and make sure that I get the template all set up correctly. That's only in the best way to do it. There's no current way to copy this logic template over to here. I wish it was as easy as drag and drop, but it's just I couldn't tell you exactly why it's not coded that way. Maybe there's a limitation. I don't know, but it's currently not possible. Okay, I hope that answers your question and gives you a easy-ish workaround than just trying to remember writing everything down. Because I can just, in theory, I should be able to just rebuild this whole logic just by being able to see it here. Yeah, that's about the only thing we can do. It would be pretty great. I'm not sure if there's some sort of a programming hitch or anything like that. I don't program, so I couldn't be more specific than that. But it's a great question. Thanks. Have any more questions? Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows that. It might be helpful. In Windows 7 and up, you can just move your windows, any of your windows, like your charts or whatever. If you grab it from the top, you can just move it up to the top of the screen and it'll automatically fill the screen. If you go and tap the left or right side of the screen, it automatically fills the half of the screen. On Windows 10, you can quarter screen it by just dragging it up to the upper corner. 7 and 8 don't do that, just 10 does that. So you can just actually drag any window up to a corner, and it will take up 1/4 of the screen. So you could have very easy to place 4 charts, and they're 4 separate corners. Get rid of these. Oh, the thing I showed you before about deleting lots of solvers at once, it does not delete them from the solver tab. It only deletes them from the logic. Any deleting here, as far as the solvers go, any of these solvers, if you delete them from here, if you add and delete them from here, not and or delete them from here, they will be created on the solver tab, but they will not be deleted. So if I delete this one, it's still there, and I can re-add it very simply. It's always a good idea to keep this as clean as possible, because the more solvers and indicators that are showing in your solver tab, the more resources BloodHound uses. I've had some people, that have had a lot, and they start complaining about slowdown and stuff like that, and we always suggest that they clean that up or split up their templates. Because if you have a lot of solver templates, logic templates, then it can get a little boggy, and so it's usually if you start to get a huge slowdown, or start to get a lot slower, and you have a lot of logic templates and a lot of solvers, it's usually a good idea to split those up. It takes less resources, makes it a little bit easier on your computer. There's one more thing I'll show. Let's say this is the signal, the kind of signals we want, just for says. But we don't like this big fat green line and we won't need, we just need the one until it reverses, like right here, which would actually be a horrible setup, but that's what I'm going to show anyways. I think I already did that. It's a signal blocker. Signal blocker is nice for cleaning up how it looks. Because some of these can look a little sloppy. So I can use a signal blocker. And that effectively blocks, it cleans it up so that there's nothing, no extra signals in there. If you have a strategy running, it's not going to take trades in the same direction. But if you had say a stop loss or a profit target, it'd actually be beneficial to not have that signal blocker in there, to have it be a little convoluted or diluted with signals, because if you hit a profit target, as soon as it hits that profit target on the next bar, it'll re-enter until it hits that profit target again, or stop loss, or an opposite signal. So if you're using profit targets and stop losses, it's probably more beneficial to keep it this way. Or you can have several trades in the same direction for the time period. Otherwise, you'd just get one trade here where you'd come in and then you'd go out there, which would not be, in this particular situation, would be a horrible trade. But yeah, well, if I don't have any more questions, I think that this is going to be a nice short workshop today. And Zach should be back in action next Friday. If you guys have any questions, per usual, you can send them into support. It makes it a lot easier for us to be a little bit prepared for any of your questions. If you email support and you say, I have a problem, my BloodHound's not working, and that's it. Well, it's really difficult for us to extrapolate what your problem is. So the more detail you can give about any problems, or if you need help trying to program your logic a specific way, the more information we get at support, the better off everybody is. Because the better off we understand what you're trying to get to, the better we can help you. So being vague doesn't help. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and end this now. It's been great heading up today's workshop. Sorry it's so short. It's only my second-ish workshop. I think the first one was just an impromptu workshop and didn't even get recorded. So I hope Zach feels better soon. I'll have at least a weekend to recover. So, all right. With that, I will bid you all adieu and have a great Friday and happy trading.